Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Contemporary Issues Sunday School class. We are pleased today to have Frank Atwood with us, one of our class members, and he's going to talk today about alternative voting methods, since this is election week coming up to November 4th. Yes. But before we do that, before I introduce Frank further, our usual announcement, Zoomers, nice to have you with us. Please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen when you're not speaking, and we are recording this for future playback. And other announcements, we have our Sunday school class, Christmas party coming up on December 9. I forgot, Alice.
It was 9.
I think it is December 9th. Yes, and hope you'll join us here in the gathering space by the kitchen for dinner and music and trivia. And it's always a fun time. We have 40 or more folks for that, so hope you will come join us.
Bring a gift.
And bring a gift to share, and gag gift.
Exchange and
I put this up.
No.
more details to follow.
Yeah, more details to come.
A secret.
That's right. Yes, and first time visitor, I want to welcome Patty, a first time visitor today. So welcome, nice to have you here. I'm Steve, and we have any other first time visitors? Carol, I noticed your name too, but I didn't say hi. So nice to have you here. We often talk about theological things, but we often on other days talk about social issues, including politics. Here sometimes from a Christian perspective, and we always try and respect everybody's opinion, but we do wade into politics and current issues here. Yes. And we are glad to do that today. Any other announcements? Anybody want to share anything? Been on any other trips besides Australia? And yes, I'm sorry, what?
I just got back from Egypt.
Egypt. Wow, neat. Did you see the pyramids? Oh, how exciting. Neat. Travel is important to give us perspective on the world. Absolutely.
Went to Luxor, I suppose.
Okay,
You went to Luxor?
Yes.
went to Luxor. Yes, very good. Okay, well, we are glad to have Frank with us today. Frank is are you still working? You're retired. Retired mechanical engineer in the Navy. And you worked on
Explosive devices.
explosive devices for when the pilots have to eject from airplanes. That was your engineering
And
area.
pull down the face curtain,
Right.
straighten up the back.
Very
The back straight.
Yes.
And I also-
It's most important.
Straight back, okay. And I also want to share with our class members too, that you were in Vietnam and wounded and got the Purple Heart Commendation, and we appreciate your service.
Wow.
Thank you.
From that era also. And you are also a libertarian
Yes,
these days, and
I'm not really. I'm an approval voting party member.
voting party member too. Okay, well, we want to know what both those mean
Okay,
before we wade into alternative voting methods. I know a lot of us think about that sometimes, not just the electoral college issue, but aren't there better ways we could do this than the ways that we do? And so we're glad to hear you tell us a little about that today. So with that, please welcome Frank.
good morning. Thanks, Steve, for that introduction. Some of you may have actually read what Steve sent out, and so I'm just going to. Frank says, too often after I've voted, I feel like I need a long shower. How many people here, like me, feel that sometimes after voting, you need a long shower? Okay. Thank you. I don't promise anyone victory. As I'm discussing alternative voting methods, there's no guarantee who's going to win. What I do promise you is there are better voting methods out there that rectify the spoiler dilemma, also known as also known as Perot in 68, and Nader in 2000. I did vote for Perot in 68. Anyone else here vote for Perot? Thank you. How? Not 68, what, 92?
Yeah.
88?
Yeah.
Thank you, got confused. I appreciate being corrected. How about anyone here vote for Nader? No one will admit it, okay. And if you had voted for Nader, I might ask you if you had voted in Florida, but I won't do that. So there's the spoiler dilemma of, do you vote for who you really like, or do you hold your nose and vote for the electable candidate? There's the wasted vote. If you do vote for who you really like, do you come away from it saying, I just wasted my vote? Or are you proud of having voted your conscience and who you really like? Or do you feel that you've sabotaged your philosophical allies? And how many people here feel that we're perpetuating two-party dominance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
70% of Americans agree that we're perpetuating two-party dominance. And the question, that will be one of the questions later on, is what is contributing to that two-party dominance?
And most of us in Colorado are independents.
Oh,
The majority
absolutely.
are registered
That's right.
independent.
Here in Colorado, the percentage for independents is 49%. For Democrats is 25%, for Republicans is 22%, and for minor parties is 2.5%. So it is amazing that with that plurality of unaffiliated voters, here we are holding our nose sometimes and voting for the lesser of two evils.
Which probably discouraged a lot of people from voting at all.
Exactly, yes,
Oh,
totally so. Yes, sir.
what percentage of people in Colorado vote?
Oh.
I don't know.
I looked it up
I've-
nationally. I looked it up nationally and it was like 63 or 64.
And we were close to that number, if not far better. I think we're at 78%.
It of course depends on the election,
Oh, right.
whether it's a presidential one or if it's a more minor.
Yeah.
Well, like
Level.
this year.
And
Right.
it depends on the intensity and of interest.
Yeah.
Some years, not recently, but yeah, some years it's been blah, nobody's been interested. Recently, very intense polarization.
Last year's
Turnout.
election, it was 64%. So the presidential election.
And I do encourage everyone to vote on the state issues and the municipal issues that are, and municipal candidates, with the election being the 4th of November. I think, 9 days away? So get out and vote. I won't quote Mayor Daley, who of course said, vote early, vote often. But you didn't hear that. I was a libertarian. As a libertarian, I took the world's smallest political quiz, which is on the internet, and discovered, despite how pragmatic I like to be, I was pragmatically fiscally responsible and pragmatically socially accepting. Now, some people will argue that being fiscally responsible, you're thinking about your wallet, and being socially accepting, you're thinking about the other side of your pants. But okay,
Okay.
a
Frank, what does libertarian really mean? What are the couple of elements?
couple of elements is the individual is the important part of it. and that the libertarians want smaller government, usually want smaller government. Rather than ask for smaller government, my request is to answer the question, what is the optimum size of government?
Yeah.
And let's approach it from that direction. Yes,
Heard libertarians say, the federal government should just pay for defense, have an army, and beyond that, not much else. Is that,
extreme libertarians are there. Some libertarians are edging into the anarchist role. I kind of say it hasn't worked. We need government.
Yes.
The question is, what is the optimum size of government? So, but what I had witnessed with the libertarians is about 2 months prior to an election, quite a number of people are disgusted with the choices. And it's said that there's going to be a 20% are willing to vote for the libertarian. A month prior, they say it's 10%. Election day comes and it's 1 or 2%. And I looked at that and I said, there's something more going on. And the libertarians have not rectified or addressed that real issue. And that real issue is that our current, and here I'm going to move to this page here from League of Women Voters. It should, League of Women Voters. The problem with our current plurality system, bottom line, at the macro level, we're perpetuating two-party dominance. At the micro level, you don't get to express yourself honestly. Or you're limited in your choices, pressured into voting for one of the two primary candidates. As discussed here with in the center column here, the winner of elections, all too often, if there's more than one, we have a spoiler and we're down into the noise of 30 and 40%. So the League of Women Voters recognizes this, and therefore on the back of that page, we have their proposed solutions. Now, the science is still mixed. This is not a group that's going to claim that it is settled. And let's face it, if it's settled, it's not science. But that's my side on that. Here are, there's basically, well, let me first check. People disappointed with our single winner voting method of voting for one and only one. Does anybody want to argue for our current method? Just, you're welcome to. I'm actually asking. Okay, well. Okay, and that came up earlier prior to me beginning to talk, and I'm going to say, Eric commiserates with you. The two of you can get together and try to climb that hill. I'm gonna stick with alternative voting methods for the moment. Yes.
Did some community within Colorado try one of these methods?
Yes.
And reject it?
Yes. On the right, instant runoff voting has been tried in Colorado and rejected. Currently, Maine is using it, and is it Iowa? Is using instant runoff voting.
Minnesota.
Okay,
Alaska used a little bit of
Yes, Alaska and,
Yeah,
what
what
is
is
it?
it?
Yeah.
Explain.
okay, okay. I find it complicated, so I'm going to stick with their text and we'll read from that. You rank the candidates. 1 for your first choice, 2 for your second choice, and so on. If a candidate receives a majority of first choice votes, that candidate wins. Otherwise, the candidate with the fewest first choice votes is eliminated. If your first choice gets eliminated, your vote will be transferred to your next choice that has not yet been eliminated. The elimination process continues in sequential rounds until one candidate remains. And this is what we rejected a year ago, and Ken Theory was pushing. I forget what the issue, what the number was, but this is when, in my mind, when the League of Women Voters can't get it simpler than that, I don't like it. Plus, it perpetuates two-party dominance. Once again, you're eliminating individuals and coming down to a runoff that's going to let you have to either stop, not vote for either, or pick one. Yes, ma'am.
What was the reason behind not wanting to vote for that? What were the criticisms of the?
Mine was that it's complicated, it's difficult to audit, and I felt that it was perpetuating two-party dominance without solving the larger angst of having viable choices. Sure.
Does that,
Um,
but they do it for their, for the state elections, you know, like for mayor and stuff.
now, New York has fusion voting. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, fusion voting. Fusion voting in New York is not quite like, is not instant runoff voting. Fusion voting in New York is minor parties will list the same candidate as is on a major party. So that you can vote for the conservative, either through the Conservative Party or a major party in there. What I have heard, and this is hearsay, and maybe New Yorkers here will speak up on this, is that the minor parties simply are bribing the major party into running their candidate rather than being the spoiler. And it's defeats the purpose. It ensures the minor party bureaucrats income from the major parties that are being bribed not to have a spoiler in the race. But be that what may, okay. Yes, ma'am.
I understand that in Hawaii, they don't vote for state issues, they have representatives that vote. Do you know anything about that?
Hawaii, I don't know about. I'm not clear. Well, I think here in Colorado, we have the initiative process where you can get an issue on the ballot by collecting enough signatures.
Right.
I believe that initiative process is only applicable in, I want to say 27 states, slightly more than a majority, but the further west you go, the more progressive it is and has initiatives. The further east seems to have a fewer initiative opportunities, is my memory. Am I answering your question? Pardon me?
So my son was the one that told me
Yeah,
that. He
her
lives
son
there.
was.
She said her son in Hawaii told her that.
Oh.
That they don't vote on state issues. The representatives decide all their state issues.
Well,
Wow.
There's a microphone on that side of the room and behind you, Jim, in the back, if you'd like to use those, please, for comments and questions.
so coming back to instant runoff voting. Yes, that is the one that has been adopted, has momentum to it, and has been around for about at least 50 years, if not more. What I'd like to focus on is on the left-hand side for approval voting. It's very simple. You can vote for more than one candidate. The candidate with the most votes wins. Now, yes, we grew up with one man, one vote. This is one person, one ballot. You only get one ballot with approval voting, but on that ballot, you can vote for as many individuals as you want. The hand gestures I use is vote for one, vote for some, vote for an obscene gesture, all but one. If you really hate somebody, why not vote for everybody else and express it? But then again, this is a mild, wonderful, graceful church, and we wouldn't be so inclined, and I wouldn't voice such an opinion. I mean,
Genteel, as they say in Virginia.
genteel, yes. But sometimes you just find yourself saying, let me vote for everyone else. And sometimes it's legitimate because you don't know how the rest of the voting population is going to vote, and you want to express yourself that way. So, any questions? I mean, yes, ma'am. Yes, Carol.
The ballot itself tells you.
Right.
Go ahead and use the
The
microphone.
ballot itself says, vote one, vote, it directs you.
Yes, for here in Colorado, although I'm advocating for approval voting, I'm fully aware that the legislature has yet to pass enabling legislation so that the state and municipalities and counties can use approval voting. We're still waiting on that. So follow the directions on your ballot. Now, with
Define approval.
approval voting is vote for all you approve of.
Vote for as many as you want,
Vote for as many as you want.
and then they would be eliminated.
No, we then score it, and the first one, the one with the most votes wins.
And you can vote for either a Republican or independent or whatever you want.
Absolutely, yes. Does anybody here live in Centennial? Okay, I want to say about 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, there was a charter committee election. You could vote for 21 of 26 candidates. This is in the weeds, I realize. But what I'm trying to point out is that the system the mechanics can handle approval voting. Can easily handle approval voting. We've done it with the Charter Commission in Centennial. We can do it with a presidential election if we wanted to.
Would there have to be some change in federal law or from the political parties to get that done if they wanted to? Frank, what would?
What is required first is enabling legislation at the legislature from both the Democrats and Republican parties to authorize the use of approval voting. Shocking. You'd think that they're not going to do it.
You
This
think
would
that
take,
would ever happen?
I, only because I'm blindly optimistic, the answer is of course I do. But correction, maybe not from them, but if somebody here has an extra couple $1 million that would like to, is there a Kent theory in the crowd? Pardon me? Kent theory,
A big donor.
right, big donor, Kent theory financed the ranked choice voting effort of a year ago. Yes, me.
Wouldn't that be almost the same as getting rid of the electoral college vote and having the popular vote win?
No, because that would be at the federal, the electoral college is at the federal level.
That's what I'm talking about for the president.
And this, the electoral college is the individual states decide how their electoral votes will be cast.
I know, but I mean, if we just got rid of that, it would be the popular vote.
It would be the popular vote, yes, but with regards to my distant memory is 8 with regards to electoral votes. 8 is the 8 between 8 and 9 is the magic number for having are you subsidized or are you subsidizing? If you have more than 9 electoral votes, they are being diluted by the number there. If it's less than 8, you are being subsidized by those with more. And with that, with less than 8 states, we can't get the, let me see. To get a constitutional amendment won't pass those less than 8 states. Wyoming is grateful for 3 electoral votes and until they go Democrat. Oh, said that. No.
So,
That's when hell freezes over.
so,
Hold for a moment. I mean,
so while we're talking about that, Frank, if we wanted to do away with the electoral college, that would take a constitutional amendment change, and that would require 2/3 of the states to vote in favor of getting rid of the electoral college.
Right.
yes.
Has been tried, but is very difficult to do, to get 2/3 of the states to approve
Anything.
anything. So it's not likely to change anytime soon.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How often has the winner of the popular vote not been elected because the electoral college overrode the popular vote?
Thrice, 3 times. The most recent one, Hillary lost to Trump in 2016, despite winning the popular vote. Al Gore in 2000 won the popular vote. But did not
The
get.
Supreme Court screwed him.
And then we have to reach way back into the 1870s.
Yeah.
With Tilden versus something, yeah.
Yeah, just curious, Frank,
Yes.
if you don't mind, let me ask
Sure.
how many people would do away with the electoral college if you could?
Oh, yeah.
That's the majority of us here. Interesting.
Switched.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Use the microphone,
Yes,
Bill.
Bill.
Got it there. That's interesting.
Somebody has seen, I had a bumper sticker that indicated I was voting Democrat. And they said, do you really believe that? Or, like, yeah, what's wrong with you? But I get, I'm not good at this, but somebody said, well, if we didn't have the electoral college, do you want all the people in California and New York to decide who the candidate is? Who's gonna win? And I said, hell yes, if that's where most of the people live. I don't have any problem with that being, so the electoral college is really I'm sorry, I'm getting too, is a SOP for the smaller states. Initially, it was a SOP for the slave states. So, anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the status of this approval vote? Is there any chance that that could be elected? I mean, do we have to have a ballot initiative? How long does that take?
A statewide initiative is either a statewide initiative is needed or the legislature passing, putting it on the ballot. And so it begins with me talking here. And so agreed, it's an uphill climb, but I'm wanting people to be aware that in addition to instant runoff voting that is financed by the Kent Theories of the world, there's approval voting, and to use approval voting in your own life. When friends want to stay friends and are deciding on a movie or a restaurant or
That's an analogy.
I think you should do that in marriages too.
well, for marriages, I'm afraid the phrase is sometimes you count the votes, sometimes you weigh the votes. And so I won't go down the marriage phrase. But I do want to say that you do a show of hands. Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that in Europe, they have a lot of coalitions that form governments and different parties.
Yeah.
They do approval voting, is that how they do it? Because I know, for instance, like in Denmark, you can't campaign for more than 8 weeks. They have restrictions on campaigning.
Kara, would you repeat with the microphone so everybody could hear you?
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I was saying that in Europe, they form coalitions of government, so you'll have more than 2 parties
Yes.
that will coalesce and govern. And in different places, they don't allow you to campaign excessively for long periods of time like we do here. So I'm just wondering if they're using some approval voting, is that an example of that or what?
They're using proportional representation. And proportional representation is often used to vote in a legislative group. And my current thinking is that even though approval voting seems impossible, I think proportional representation is going to be even a harder sell to the vast majority of people. It may, maybe I'm just out of, do I trust this crowd?
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, what I'd like to see is you're going to have a choice of A or B. A is which is harder to enact, approval voting, or approval voting is A and B is a proportional representation. Okay, who here feels that approval voting is harder to enact? Oh, good. Thank you. You're listening to me. And who feels that proportional representation, getting the nation to come around to proportional representation would be harder to enact? Okay, and quite often,
It's not.
quite often I feel proportional representation is the result of a major national disaster, such as after the Second World War, restoring, if you've been an occupied country, let's say, you said Belgium or
Denmark, she said.
Denmark. Denmark was occupied by the Nazis during the Second World War. Coming out of the Second World War, in a sense, you have an opportunity to start fresh.
Mhm.
Even though you lost the war, you can start fresh with elections, I think. And I hope we don't have that.
You're talking about the parliamentary system.
A parliamentary system, yes.
Which
Parliamentary.
is
Thank you.
where which is where they take coalitions and like Israel does in Germany and
Germany.
France. They can have different parties and they all come together to form a government.
Right.
You don't have one current American government that's just Republican. You've got 3 or 4 parties that are working together and have a percentage of the representation. in it.
Right, and so in
But then-
Germany, the concern was you had that 15% that were right-wing, pro-Nazi and all that.
But
Right.
it seems a lot more unstable too than the
Yeah.
American system, right? Because like France
Could
just,
change it.
France government is just falling apart now. The prime minister resigned,
5 in 1 year
because-
or something,
something like that, 5. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, and I
no
like-
perfect government, is there?
no perfect government, and from my pragmatic perspective, I feel we're better off tweaking the system rather than doing a major overhaul. Yes, ma'am.
I think one big thing we should.
There's a microphone behind you. Sorry.
I think one big thing we should work on is getting rid of, Citizens United, because, you know, when you get so much money into the elections, that just skews everything.
Amen.
And if we could, you know, these other European countries, they don't spend maybe 6 or 8 weeks on elections. We spend 2 years. So, if we could somehow get that out, that would at least be, an improvement
Yeah.
for
I-
a more democratic process.
I look forward to you organizing that effort. Man, hey, on the back left, you have a microphone?
Jim needs a microphone.
Public Citizens, which is the outgrowth of Ralph Nader's efforts during the late 20th century. Public Citizen is leading the way on the overthrow of Citizens United. I encourage everybody to get involved in Public Citizen for that reason, because they have a definite plan of action about how they are trying to go about doing this thing. And I think I totally agree that this proportional voting and all these other things are ideal to, and especially in the sophisticated electorate that we have nowadays, that we could probably have this thing. But I feel like we are rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. This is distracting from the primary problem in American elections, which is money. Money is going wild. It is buying elections over and over and over again. And we are not doing anything except for public citizens trying to get rid of Citizens United. This is where the problem is. In all of the Trump efforts to point and say, oh, that was a fixed election and all of this, that's a distraction.
We can
From
thank
what's
the
the
Supreme Court.
problem? The problem is money that is buying elections.
We can thank the Supreme Court for that, because they said corporations should be regarded as a personal.
Well,
Now-
that's the same problem.
Okay, we're now going to look, okay, I'm score voting. On that page, score voting is letting you score the candidates and gives you a different approach. And it's, some people will, well, it is true. Score voting, giving a value of, let's say, 0 to 3. With approval voting, you're simply going with a yes, no. Approval voting is you're saying, yes, these are the candidates I like, or no, these are not. Is anybody here familiar with Irma Shave?
Yeah, back in the day.
Okay, this crowd, it may work. Let me try this. Mark your ballot, yay or nay. Most yays win at the end of the day. Irma Shave. To describe approval voting. Mark your ballot, yay or nay. most votes win, most yeas win at the end of the day. Now, when I've been at other exhibits, they're oblivious to Burma shade. So,
Just the
so thank you,
voters.
thank you, yes.
Road post.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is I'd like to go to this card here. Either this card or, and granted, we've the orange little box on the left. Why does the US have just one party more than China? And yes, B is what you were just talking about. But I'm advocating that the answer is D, Duverger's law. And on the top of it, we see 60% feel that a third party is needed. That's in red on the top of the ballot of it. Independent affiliation currently in Colorado. I think we said it was 49%.
Yep.
49%, pretty close to 50%. And yet when it comes to what's difficult to read at the bottom there, third party registration and votes for non-major party congressional candidates were in the noise of the noise. And that's because of Duverger's law. All of the above may be true, but only one can explain why the US has a two-party system for more than 200 years. The root cause of the two-party system is Duverger's law. Our primitive choose one plurality voting method causes similar candidates to split the vote, so parties consolidate into two left and right of center votes. So looking at our bell curve in the middle, natural ideological distribution, polarization and ideological distribution, and then entrenched two-party duopoly. If you look at, the little symbols at the bottom, it goes green, Whigs, and libertarians. But we split ourselves into two parties, and approval voting lets that minor party be voted for without consequences, adverse consequences.
I missed the part about the Whigs. Is there something that third?
If you see that little owl down there, that I believe is the symbol for the Whig Party. I'm not aware of them either, but
I thought they went away in 1858.
they did, but they're coming back.
Been reconstituted?
I think so, yes. Okay. So let's. Oh. I have pencils here. I'm hoping that I need help with approval voting. And on the back page of the handout is approval voting ballot, car wrap message. Some of you may have seen me driving around with a approval voting vehicle. And that vehicle, the message there is, approval voting moves us beyond two-party thinking. So what I'm going to inflict on you right now is I'm going to read through the list once, and when I read through the list a second time, raise your hand and see if it makes sense or not, and help me come up with a tagline or meme for approval voting that's more acceptable to the rest of the world than what I currently have. Yes. Steve, may I do that?
Sure.
Okay, just So, approval voting moves America to the middle. Approval voting moves us beyond two-party thinking. Approval voting lets you vote for all you approve of. Approval voting lets you vote for all your favorites. Approval voting, mark all your favorites, most votes wins. Approval voting, the candidate with the broadest support is elected. Approval voting, fewer spoilers, fewer wasted votes, shorter showers. Approval voting is as simple as a show of hands. Approval voting, one and done, no cycles of recounts. When friends want to stay friends and are deciding on a movie or restaurant, they use a show of hands. That is approval voting. Approval voting lets you vote for a potential spoiler without shame. Approval voting lets you express yourself more honestly. Yes, I'm trying to indoctrinate you, but you shouldn't be noticing that. What I now want is Steve here is going to report to me. There's currently about 27 of us in the room here, and he's going to report what percentage, what fraction of the room has likes the meme. Yes, ma'am.
Right here, if I understand, if approval voting, if you vote for everybody that you want, okay? Isn't it ultimately the person who gets the most vote wins? So I don't understand how that changes from the way we vote now. I mean, so you vote for all these people, try to explain, I don't understand how that is better than, you know, if I vote for 5 candidates, then everybody votes for their 5 candidates. There's gonna be the top one and the second one, so how is that different from just voting for one?
Who here has found themselves voting for their second choice that was possible to, you had your preference, who you really liked with your heart, and then realized that they didn't have a chance of winning and needed to vote for the electable candidate.
Primaries, yes.
Yeah, primaries especially.
Primaries. And this approval voting lets you vote for both of them. Vote for both who you really like deep in your heart and who you really say, oh, this is the guy that's gonna have the chance of winning.
So what you're really doing is a negative vote for the person you really don't like. Is that right?
That's one way of approaching it, yes. Yes, as I said, you can vote for one, you can vote for some, you can vote for all but one. This is. Let me just check with Ron and Eric for a moment. Does the sun rise in the morning? In the east, does it rise in the morning? This is a trick question for my science people as a paradigm shift for the rest of us to consider. Does the sun actually rise in the morning? The question is, no, it doesn't. The horizon drops. Since Copernicus, we've known this, right? Have we changed our language yet?
Nope.
Is the sun continues to have the horizon drop out from it, and we paradigm shift, try to tell people it's not the sun rising in the morning. And in the same way, I agree with you at one level. I'm vigorously trying to hang on to one vote. And then I say, different elections come up and I just say, oh, wow, wouldn't it be nice to have been able to vote for more than one? And so I agree with you, it's a tough paradigm shift. But it's necessary. I think if we want to see third parties have any viability and visibility, we need to let people vote for more than one party.
Yep.
Am I making any sense? Okay,
That they don't have experience with it, it's hard to visualize, but I understand what you're saying.
well, we'll come back to restaurants and movies. You use a show of hands. We had a HOA president talk with us. And when we were discussing this, and she said the way I decide the priorities for the HOA and for the volunteers is in a sense the show of hands. I give everybody a menu of what the choices are. And the ones that are on the top are the ones that I put effort into to coordinate and get it going. Show of hands works. Wait just a sec. Another approach is honeybee democracy. I don't know if any of you are familiar with honeybee democracy. It lets people, it explains how bees select their new hive location. They send out the scouts come back, and in a sense, they use score voting by how long they wiggle and are enthusiastic about their location. Yes, okay, and I've been meaning to push this. Let's have a sex question here. How many people here think the queen bee is monogamous? Does anyone think the queen bee is monogamous?
No.
You're absolutely right. She isn't at all. She isn't at all. How many feel that the queen bee is part of the decision-making process for selection of the new hive?
Isn't she the one that leads
I
everybody
think
else?
so, yeah.
Not at all. She is simply precious cargo and a baby maker. She's not part of,
All the underlings.
well, all of the rest of the worker bees and drones in the hive are her progeny.
Oh.
But
So they're mama.
so they're following mama. Yes, she's mama. She's not really queen. But sorry,
Okay,
we're gonna, I'm gonna come back to here.
so
Yes,
Frank, what you want them to do is to help you come up with the best motto or slogan for
Exactly.
approval voting. So if you want to mark on there, which one of those you think is the best?
Only
What
one
do you
gets
vote?
The best two.
our
You vote for
Yeah.
the
all your
honor.
favorites. Exactly.
One favorite, huh?
Now, what I'd like to do is I'm trying to recruit Steve to actually look at the audience, and he'll report to me what percentage of the room goes with the particular meme. So
Well, I'm
I'm,
not sure how to do that, Frank.
you look,
Write down the numbers beside each of the things he reads.
well,
You can vote for
I'm,
more than one.
vote more than one, right?
you can vote for more than one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do the first four and see if we understand what's happening.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna read approval voting moves America to the middle.
So you're asking raise hands?
Yeah, just raise hand and, okay, we've got about 6 people. Agreed, Steve?
Sure.
Approval voting moves us beyond two-party thinking.
You gotta raise hands.
I like that.
Okay, I'm gonna call us a half of the audience. Approval voting lets you vote for all you approve of.
That's good.
A quarter, I'm calling. Approval voting lets you vote for all your favorites.
Same thing.
A quarter again. Approval voting, mark all your favorites, most votes wins. Okay, still with a quarter maybe. Approval voting, the candidate with the broadest support is elected.
I like that.
I'm sorry, you're an eighth. Approval voting, fewer spoilers, fewer wasted votes, shorter showers. That, nobody really, thank you for voting for it, but it's a minority of one and you're,
Well,
okay. Approval voting is as simple as show of hands. I like that. A half. We're gonna go with a half here. Approval voting one and done, no cycles or recounts. And
Be a lot.
sorry. When friends want to stay friends and are deciding on a movie or restaurant, they use a show of hands. That is approval voting. Too long. Agreed.
But a good description.
Right,
Yes.
okay. Approval voting lets you vote for a potential spoiler without shame. Does one of my friends likes that, but I'll tell him no way. Approval voting lets you express yourself more honestly.
That's a good one.
I think that's a quarter. Okay, so I think Steve's about to steal the mic from me, but before he does, we're going to go. The quarters are going to be read again. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Okay, approval voting lets you vote for all you approve of. Are we still happy with that? Okay, approval voting lets you vote for all your favorites. Yeah, okay. Approval, well, I think where we are is approval, two choices. Sorry, this is a runoff, which I disapproved of. This is going with the top two. The top two are approval voting moves us beyond two-party thinking, and approval voting is as simple as show of hands. So all those that prefer approval voting moves us beyond two-party thinking, raise your hand. We're actually going to count. You count and I'll count. 1, 2. Okay, that got 10.
But now are we voting for more than one or just one?
Well, I'll let you vote for both if you want to. The second one is approval voting is as simple as show of hands. I think 9. Too close to call. Thank you very much. Steve, thank you very much for letting me call.
Welcome. We are running out of time.
Yes.
I want to give our Zoomers a chance to comment
Yeah.
before we go about the whole issue of other voting methods. If any of you would like to. Susan, would you like to say anything about Canada, how voting's done in Canada? Is it like America?
Well, we have a
Uh-oh, you muted.
they use ranked choice, which is, I guess it's the instant runoff, and it works really well. And I actually vote in Maryland as well, and they use the score voting for the primaries, and that works well too.
Not too complicated to keep track of different things?
I don't know, because I mean, you just rank it and then there's a winner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Good, okay. Well, yes, go ahead.
I just want to make one comment.
Sure.
Even if we move to approval and the same person, it gives visibility to the fact that, you didn't live by very much, right? And then maybe the next year, more people will vote for the person they really want, right? The other benefit is, but the visibility that person gains, he may become vice president, and then,
Good point.
right?
Good
So
point.
I think we need to start moving in the right direction. I think people, just like using Amazon or the internet, over time, they'll get more comfortable with it and we'll finally get out of this, two-party method that we have here.
Good point. Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Yep. Well, a good topic and obviously no conclusion at the moment, but
It's
the
science.
more we talk about it, the more we can consider other things. Maybe
Thank
better
you,
methods. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Dad.
Bye. For being with us.
Yeah. Thank you.